Inside this box is the new Ailunce HA2 handheld hams radio HT walkie-talkie radio. This new radio, made exclusively for radio dorks, has a lot of great radio dork features, and it is almost perfect. I will show you the reasons why it's not perfect, but it is almost perfect. Unlike many other radios that I have reviewed on this channel, as I just mentioned, this radio definitely is made for radio dorks that love a lot of fancy features, options, and controls on their radio. That means that this radio is designed for someone that enjoys sitting on the couch and making contacts with anonymous men in exotic and faraway places. The price for the new Ailunce HA2 is not cheap, but as they say, if you have to ask, then you are not a true radio dork, or you just haven't perfected the art of lying to your wife about the toys that you buy. However, if you use my discount code, you will get 10% off until January 20th, 2026. That means that if you are watching this video after January 20, 2026, that code will not work. So in that case, please do not leave a stupid comment complaining that the code no longer works. And for your clicking pleasures, I have put an affiliate link directly to this radio in the more information section below, so you can see for yourself if you think you can get away with lying to your wife about buying one. And yes, my friends at Retevis, who own the Ailunce brand, did send me this new radio at no cost so that I could share it with you, my favorite viewer in the whole wide world. So when you purchase the new Ailunce HA2 handheld HT hams radios walkie-talkie radio, you will receive this very nice box. Unlike all of the crappy boxes that come with those cheap Chinese radios, this box is very well designed. One might even go so far as to say that it is a bit Apple-like. And this might just be the best box that I've ever seen for this kind of radio. And whoever designed this box should be promoted out of the Chinese slave labor camp and should be put in charge of all of the other slaves in that slave labor camp so he can whip those other slave labor's asses into shape to make some radios as nice as he designed this box. It is a really nice box. Too bad it's going straight into the garbage can. Anyway, in the box you will receive a user manual, 39 pages long and written in very good, surprisingly good English, and the font is large enough that most humans will actually be able to read it without the use of a microfiche reading machine. You will receive this very handsome standard issue wrist strap, a belt clip which affixes to your radio, thusly allowing you to attach the entire radio to your belt so that you can really impress the chicks when you're lurking around across the street from the schoolyard. A charging cradle for charging the battery, along with this USB-A's to USB-C's cable. You will receive an antenna. You will receive a battery that holds 2,800 milliamp hours of electricity, which is bigger than average, and in despite of what your mother has told you all of your life, bigger actually is better for batteries. This battery is USB-C's chargeable via the built-in USB-C's hole, so you can charge it directly via USB-C's, or you can use the previously mentioned charging cradle. And you will receive the Ailunce HA2 handheld HT hams radios walkie-talkie radio. On the top, you will find a hole for the antenna, a useless emergency button, which can be configured to do actual useful things, on-off volume control knob, as well as a channel changer knob, and a transmit and receive LED indicator. On the side, you'll find a pull to talk trigger and 2 programmable buttons. And on the other side, you'll find a door which hides a speaker and microphone connector. And on the front, you will find the usual assortment of amenities, speaker, built-in microphone, screen, and control buttons. As mentioned only moments ago, this radio does cost more monies than your average cheap Chinese radio. Affiliate link below, but allow me to show you why any real radio dork will find this radio well worth all of those extra monies when comparing it to a lesser cheap Chinese radio. However, if all you want is a cheap $20 radio that can't do nearly as much radio dork stuff as this radio can do, then you should just go away now. And please do not leave any stupid comments showing everyone that you're poor by complaining that it costs too many monies. Anyway, as you can see, the screen is large and not too cluttered, and it is easy to read, and it works fairly well in bright, direct sunlight. But the previously mentioned side door, which hides the waterproof accessory connector, has a thumb screw that falls out and automatically rolls directly under the refrigerator whenever you remove the door, something that is very disappointing for a radio that costs this many monies. As you might have guessed from the waterproof connector, this radio has an IP67 rating, which means that you can play with it in the bathtub or pretty much anywhere you like to sit and make contacts with anonymous men. This radio can receive VHF 136 to 174 MHz, UHF 400 to 600 MHz, airband commercial FM radio, and all NOAA weather channels and NOAA weather alerts. The radio can store over 1,000 channels with 16 zones of up to 64 channels each, and you can do all of your zone management, channel naming, etc. the old-fashioned and very manly way, directly on the keypad via the use of the keypad and the intuitive and easy-to-use menus. The radio has an adjustable microphone gain, something that most lesser radios do not have. This helps to reduce very annoying noises like the wind or an angry wife in the background loudly complaining that you already have too many radios and you didn't need to buy another one. It has a talk permit tone, another thing that most lesser radios do not have. This makes a beep tone after you pull the talk trigger, letting you know when it's okay to start talking. I know a lot of people, that could really use this because they always start talking before they pull the talk trigger. It has an auto power off option, so you can set it to turn itself off after a certain amount of time, and you can set the battery icon to display as an icon, the battery percentage, or the voltage level of the battery. And speaking of the battery level, the radio supports fast charging via the USB-C's hole. So if you have a fast charging cable and charger, the battery will charge at 9 or 10 watts instead of the measly 3 or 4 watts that most lesser radios charge up at. This means that instead of taking 7 or 8 hours to charge up the radio, it can charge in only 3 or 4 hours. And the radio has a sexy new voice that I've never heard before.
Frequency mode. Channel mode.
Very sexy. She reminds me of the cleaning lady we had when I was a kid. The radio has what Ailunce calls the one-key frequency pair function, which will listen for all nearby transmitters, and when it hears one, it will show you the frequency and any tones in use, and then let you save it to a channel. This can be very useful for when that friend of yours that also needs the talk permit beep sound to let him know when it's okay to start talking on his radio, but has no idea what frequencies or tones his radio uses. So you just tell your stupid friend to stand 40 yards away from you. It will work closer, but trust me, 40 or 50 yards away is better. So tell him to go stand in a field and then transmit on his radio, and this radio will pick up that frequency and any tones that his radio is using, so you can then save it to a channel. Thusly. The radio also does regular tone scanning, so it will tell you the tone of whatever frequency you're listening to and let you save that as a channel as well. This radio also does wireless cloning so that if you have 2 of them, I only have 1 of them, but if I had 2, I would be able to show you how you can copy or clone all of the programming from one radio to the other radio wirelessly. But because I don't have 2 and I can't show you that, I'll show you this picture instead. And like most cheap Chinese radios, this radio can do scanning. However, unlike the scanning on all of those lesser cheap Chinese radios, the scanning on this radio is very powerful. You can set a start and ending frequency to scan through, or you can scan everything, or you can create scan lists of only the specific channels that you care about. You can specify how long the radio waits and listens when it hears a signal. Before it resumes the scan, you can make it scan for only certain tones, and you can set up to 2 priority channels when scanning. If you do not know what a scanning priority channel is, then obviously you are not a true radio dork. When receiving, the radio displays a signal strength level reading, which can be very helpful when trying to decide which of your radio dork friends has the better radio, and the radio can monitor 2 channels at the same time. But if trying to listen to more than one thing at a time overstimulates your brain, you can very easily change it to mono-channel monitoring by simply tapping the pound key button, thusly. The radio has a built-in compass, and for all of the true radio dorks, the radio does support GLONASS and APRS. As mentioned only moments ago, you can do all of the programming and setup of this radio the old-fashioned and very manly way, directly on the keypad, or like most other radios, you can also program it using the free programming software that you can download from the Retevis or Ailunce website. However, that software only runs on Windows, so I cannot show you that because, surprise, my Windows computer is broken. So instead, I'll show you this picture. But you can also program it on your phone wirelessly using a free app. So to use that, you must first install the app to your phone. But knowing you probably tossed the manual into the trash without ever looking at it. So now, how do you figure out where to find the app? My friend, with most radios, you would be forced to wade through the cesspool that is the internet and hope that you can find where to download the app without getting sidetracked and going down a 4-hour rabbit hole of watching snakebite videos. But this radio gives you a QR code that you can scan straight from the radio to download the app on your phone, thusly. And bam, you can download the app. Unfortunately, for now at least, the app only works on Android, and because I have a real phone, I can't show you the app, but I can show you this picture instead. And because the radio has built-in Bluetooth, it also supports Bluetooth speakers, Bluetooth microphones, and Bluetooth earphones, but I don't have any of those things, so I can't show you any of that either. But I can show you this picture instead. And the radio is firmware updatable, meaning that you can update the firmware. But for that, you will need a Windows computer. I'm just going to show you this picture instead. But I can show you that this radio does have a Roger beep, which sounds very nice. And it also does a faux MDC tone for the true radio dorks. As for power output, the box says, actually, the box does not say how much power this radio outputs, nor does the Amazon page, but the Retevis page says that this radio outputs up to 10 watts. And even though power output is not the biggest contributing factor to how many FARs a radio can give, let's test it anyway. As you can see with your very own ocular juice packs on 446 MHz, this radio is outputting just under 5 watts, totally acceptable for a 5-watt radio, but for a radio that's supposed to be 10 watts, not so much. And on 14652 MHz, we are getting just under 3 watts, not even acceptable for a 5-watt radio. But using this radio, I was able to talk with my friend Conrad, the chef, who really is a chef, using his base station with a large antenna on his roof, 13 miles away, direct on simplex at 446 MHz, and I was coming in loud and clear, 13 miles away. So if you are looking for a radio made for radio dorks to make contacts with anonymous man or whatever it is you do at night, then the new Ailunce HA2 might just be the radio dork radio for you.